Welcome to Not Starving Artists, the podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Benson, money coach and equity actor. I am your financial cheerleader, here to help you build your financial confidence and have power over your money. The best part, no budgeting or bi-weekly paychecks required. I went from being a broke BFA grad having weekly panic attacks about money to a financially confident, wealth-building actor and business owner. Money gets to feel fun, simple, and sexy, and I am going to show you how. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of my podcast series, Inside One-on-One Coaching. Now, I've done one of these series before, and what you're about to hear is a real-life coaching call with me. Why I wanted to do this series again is because I think it's really important for you all to hear how money gets talked about behind closed doors. Now, just so you're aware, every single person who you are about to hear inside of this series has consented to being on the podcast. They came into the recording knowing exactly what these recordings would be used for. So with these coaching calls, there's a few reasons why I want you to hear them. One is because I think it's important to hear that we all have so many of the same money narratives that we're trying to work through, financial struggles that we're trying to work through, right? You're not special, but in the best way, right? In the most liberating way. That's one of the reasons I want you to hear these. The second thing is I want you to hear how much we can accomplish, whether it be mindset or tactical, can be accomplished in just 30 minutes. Each of these coaching calls was a 30-minute coaching call. And most of these people I had never worked with before. So I want you to hear how much we get through in just 30 minutes. And I want you to hear that as just 30 minutes of intentional focused time on your money can yield so much results. Okay. There's this huge misconception that getting your money shit together is going to take hours and hours and hours and so much time and energy and all of this stuff. And sure, maybe some methods, maybe some financial advice that is out there. Yes, that would be the case. Not here at Not Starving Artists, baby. We got too much art and too much change in the world to do to let money take up too much of our life. So I'm so excited for you to hear these coaching sessions. If you yourself are interested in one-on-one coaching with me, you can find all of the details at the link in the show notes. You can also find it at notstarvingartist.com under the tab One-on-One Money Mentorship. Now let's get into it. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. I'm so excited to coach you today.
I know, me too. As soon as you were like coaching, I was like, I always need her coaching. So I'm ready.
Yes, amazing. So I would just love to dive straight in. I would love to know what I read your intake form, right? So I have
Yeah.
some notes about what you wrote there, but before we go into that, I want to know right now what's on the forefront of your brain or what's weighing the heaviest.
I think my credit card debt is definitely weighing the heaviest. I feel it in my bones. And I think that's what I've been working on consistently over the past year is just how to just feel safe with debt. And just kind of because I feel like it then ripples out into everything else in terms of setting my prices and picking opportunities out of scarcity. I feel like it clouds a lot of my vision. So I think that's to narrow it in. It's the debt is really the thing that I think impacts the rest of my business.
So when you said that you've been working on this for the past year, what are the things you've been working on, or what's been going on up until this point?
Yeah, so I've been to some of your coaching calls within Freelance with Freedom, which has helped. So I learned how to do the money flow, which I still do, and I really enjoy just that I'm not kind of pulling everything to just throw on credit cards. It feels like very like a neutral money flow, which I think has been a big part of it. But I've also been kind of trying to get to the root of my money issues through, I have a therapist that we talk about it because I do think it's something that's deeply ingrained is this shame around it. And so I've been doing a lot of journaling and trying to do money affirmations, trying to get to just the root of what my why I feel so stuck around it. And not even just the debt, but like my self-worth around my prices. And especially as a freelancer, you really have to like feel strongly about your prices. And I think there's a lot connected to how I feel about myself and like kind of all that stuff. So there's been a lot of journaling, a lot of therapy, a lot of money affirmations, and just trying to rework a lot of coaching as well through Harry and you as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to jump like tactically for a second because I
Please,
want
yeah.
to where we're going here. So money flow method, right? A neutral money flow method has been implemented. So talk to me from that. What have you learned? Like, is there a debt payoff that's happening? Like, are you paying the minimums every month? Are things still going onto a credit card? Tell me tactically what's happening.
Yeah, so I am paying the minimums on the credit cards. I try to pay a little bit more when I have more. Um, and I have already done kind of the as many of the transfers as I can to try and keep the interest rates not as abusive. And so I have kind of done what I feel like is kind of all I can do with like moving things around and making it a little bit easier. But I am paying at least the minimum, which I'm grateful for just in general to be able to have that. But I think, and I have also really noticed like what I'm putting on cards and which card, I'm very big on the point system. So I'm very big about using points, knowing which one I get more cash back on like that. I'm my father's daughter when it comes to that. So I feel really strongly about knowing like which cards to use when. But I think from like a tactical perspective, I think what kills me is the interest. So it's like I'm paying the minimum and a little bit more when I can, but then adding on the things that keep increasing in price. So there's like the groceries increase, the commuting is increasing, like everything is increasing. So even when I feel like I'm cutting back and only putting the necessities on cards, it's like it still grows because of just the cost of everything and then the interest.
Okay, so let me ask. The
Mhm.
cards that you have debt on, that you're carrying debt on, are
Yeah,
you still using those cards and using them to like use your expenses? Great.
yeah,
Tactically, we're splitting it. Okay.
yeah.
We're going to talk about the points and the cashback thing in a second. The
Okay.
reason that I'm saying split it, right? I'm not saying you can't use credit cards, but any credit card, how many credit cards are carrying debt right now?
Um, oh gosh, well, I do have two cards that have debt that have no interest currently, so I don't use them and I'm just simply paying those off.
Yeah.
So I would say the cards that have debt that I'm currently using, I have three, four.
Okay.
Three are my main ones that I use for commuting, food, all that stuff. So I have really three main cards that have debt that I use the most. And then I have two other cards that I don't use at all that I'm just paying. So that's six total.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're going to hate this.
No, it's
You're
okay. You tell me.
you are going to stop using all six of those credit cards and you're going to
Okay.
set those minimums on auto pay, right? So all
Okay.
of the minimums are already being paid on all these cards,
Yeah.
but you're going to stop using them. Now, why I am saying this is because a lot of the things that are in your brain right now of like the minimums or the amounts aren't decreasing, like not seeing progress, the interest rates, right? It's actually an organization issue that's happening because the
Okay.
current money you're spending is getting muddled in with the debt money, and your feelings about the debt money are seeping into the current money you're spending. And so, like, all of money just doesn't feel good right now. Where
Yes.
I want you to set those minimums up on auto pay for all six of those cards, set up
Okay.
the minimum payment, and then we're not using them. Then you're just going to use your debit card. Or if you, what's your credit score right now?
Ooh, great question. Um, Hold on, I can tell you. I think it's seven something.
Great.
Hold on. Sorry. I used to have a great credit score. Um,
That's a thought we want to work on too.
I know. I'm also trying to work on how I talk about debt. Like I
Yeah.
was telling a friend, I was like, I don't mind I don't want to ignore my debt. I don't want to not talk about it ever, but I feel like I bring it up when no one asks. And I feel like I try to make jokes about how I'm broke and like just try and like ease the pain around it. And I'm like, it's not helpful. So I'm going to not do that. So it's a lot of recognizing my own verbiage around
And
it,
that
I think.
neutrality that you want around your debt is actually going to come from the organization of separating your debt. So you're
Right.
actually going to put a clear glass wall between your current money and your past money, which is your debt. Right.
Right.
So
Right.
you're
Right.
going to put that wall up and you're going to set those minimums on auto pay so that you can actually have that neutrality so that
Yeah.
you the money that's currently coming in and the money you're spending currently in the present moment is feeling really good, right? Like your money flow is money flowing, right? Your prices are great because they are more than covering your current expenses, right? I want you to feel so good about your present money. And then when you have that surplus, you can throw more at the other credit card debt, but there's a neutrality because there's a wall.
Right. Right.
Not gonna
Okay. Sorry, just to circle back. My
Yeah.
credit score is currently 707.
Cool. So there's a world in which you can open another card.
Okay.
You put your flex spending on,
Okay.
right? Because remember, with the money flow, you have your firm checking account and your flex checking account.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So your firm account is what all of those credit card minimums are going to come out of. Your rent,
Yep.
bills, all your auto pays, that's your firm account. And then your flex bank account, you have the choice to either use your debit card for grocery shopping, whatever, or you can use a new credit card that doesn't
Okay.
carry any debt, doesn't hold any debt. It functions like your debit card.
Okay. Okay. So let me tell you the first thing that comes up with this.
Tell me.
So I will say I have been better about I used to never use my debit card because I was very much this before I was carrying debt. I was like, use the credit card, get the points, pay off the credit card, blah, blah, blah. Now, obviously, things have changed. So I have been better about using my debit card with certain things. My issue currently is the actual income.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like not, I don't have any, how can I, what am I trying to say? I I maybe have enough for minimums
Mm-hmm.
for the next month. Like I don't have enough to be like 2 months ahead. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very like paycheck to paycheck at the moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
So great. So it's like, so when we're piecing out like the problem, right, or what you want to solve for, we can talk about debt all day, right? But at the end of the day, it's yes, we're going to separate the debt so you can pay the minimums, but yeah, now it's we need the neutrality of the debt so that you can price yourself and sell yourself in order to increase your income.
Right.
So that you do have a surplus too. I'm going to give you order of operations here, okay? What we want, right, why we want to put a wall between you and your debt payoff is because first things first, we want to make sure your current life is not paycheck to paycheck. Your
Right.
current money, right? What is coming in is covering what is going out right now. Okay, that's the
Yes.
first step. Break even, right? Season of sustaining. Okay, that's the first goal. So, do you know what your baseline expense number is off the top of your head?
Yes.
Great.
I have it in my notes. I think it's gone up, obviously. Baseline, and remind me, baseline is firm and flex,
Firm
right?
plus. Yep.
Okay, so it's 3,300 at the moment. Is that
Cool.
right? Yes, because that includes the minimum credit card payments.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So your baseline being 3,300, that means that we want your average monthly income to be at least 3,300. Okay, so that's the first goal. Break
Right.
even, season of sustaining. Okay.
Yeah.
Once that's happening, okay, we can breathe a little easier. Okay, that's
Yes.
that's why that's the first goal. Second thing is we're going to move you into a bit of a surplus. We want you to have that wiggle room. Now, with that surplus, we are not putting money towards extra debt payoff yet. What we are doing is we're going to get you 3 months ahead on bills. So creating
Mm.
that savings bucket called your on deck buffer, which is 3 times 3,300, which is 9,900.
Yeah.
right? So let's get $10,000 into your savings account before you start putting more money to extra debt payoff.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the first thing. So that if you have a month where you only bill $2,000, right, in your business, that's okay because you have 1,300 that you can pull. Okay.
Right.
Or let's say like one of your friends gets married and like asks you to be in the wedding party and like you have to go get the bridesmaid's dress or whatever, right? Like that's something that could happen where you're like, okay, I need $100 that I'm going to pull from my savings rather than having to put that on a credit card. So the
Right.
second goal here is giving you savings wiggle room so that nothing more has to go on a credit card.
Right. Right.
Okay. Then the third step is when you have buffer inside of your savings, then if you have more surplus, right? Like as you're going to continue to increase your income,
Mhm.
then even that extra surplus, then you can choose to put that towards extra debt payoff.
Okay.
So that's the 3-step order of operations.
Okay.
What comes up for you as I give you those tactical steps?
I mean, it feels better because I feel like, I know what I average because okay, sorry, I'm like all over the place. So I don't currently have any one-on-one clients, which is my eventual goal because I currently teach I teach yoga in person in studios. I don't really have a lot of say over those prices because it's the studio's price. And so that's kind of like a consistent amount, which is great because then it's like at least I know that. But I know that my one-on-one is where the more income will come in. And so for me, it's like it's good to know where I'm off. Like I'm off by probably $1,200. And so it's like that kind of can help me like sort out, feel better about my pricing, sort out how many clients I need. Kind of makes it a little bit more digestible than just being like, I need more money. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how many one-on-one clients is an extra 1,200 a month?
That would probably be, and it depends. I have a few different programs, so it would depend, but I'll just do like an average.
What are your programs? Tell me your different programs.
So I have just like my big program is like a 10-week one-on-one customizable virtual yoga program. So it's 8 weeks of actual practice plus an onboarding and an offboarding call. And we practice together virtually once a week for an hour. But I build it's customizable. So I build everything around your specific needs and wants around it can be yoga, it can be breath work, it can be restorative, anything. And then I build personal playlists, I write everything down. You have access to videos, like all that good stuff. So that is $1,500 for the program.
Yeah.
And then my regular one-on-ones, which is just like if you want a one-off or a class pack kind of thing, those are 100 an hour. So it's like 1,500 or it's 150 per session within the bespoke bliss is what I call it. And then 100 for just the general one-on-one one-offs.
How many one-offs have you sold since the beginning of the year?
Those have just started. So
Okay.
none.
Okay.
Because I started with the program first and then was like, let me start because that's a lot for people to hop into. And so I still have that.
Is
But then I
it?
was like, well,
Is it?
I that's what so I've been selling that since May.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't had anyone get it yet. I know it's still early, but I haven't had anyone do that. And then I was like, well, I thought about how I joined Harry and I started off doing Freelance to Freedom I had to be kind of like warmed up for that. And then I joined the mastermind after like 2 years. So I was wondering if I maybe needed to kind of offer up some one-on-ones before jumping into like, if people didn't want to do the full program, they could get like a taste of what it would be like.
Sure. So I'm not saying offering one-off classes or one-off sessions is a bad idea. I think that's
Yeah.
totally fine, right? Like giving people a taste of you. That's great. But your thought that the 10-week program is a lot for people to jump into is the
Yeah.
reason you're not selling it.
Yeah.
Because you have the thought, this is a lot for people. When you just described that program, I want you to know what I heard. I was like, 10 weeks where I could have a yoga savant walk me through, create a personalized plan with like my goals of the things I want to do and what I want to experience, a freaking playlist, like so much personalization and hand holding for someone like me who has a really hard time like sticking to routines and habits when it
Mhm.
comes to physical stuff. Like, oh my gosh. And so when you said 1500, I was like, that's a steal. Are you kidding me? What a steal to have a
Yeah.
personal yoga instructor every single step of the way. But you need to believe that about your program.
Yeah.
That like
That's
this
where it comes
is
in,
a
the
no-brainer.
self-worth. Yeah. Yeah.
Self-worth. Tell me more about the self-worth piece.
So, this is something that I worked on. I didn't notice it until my therapist and I were talking about it with the pricing and how I like wasn't I felt very uncomfortable talking about the pricing because I just assume people don't want to spend money on this. So it's like that's something, but it comes down to imposter syndrome. It comes down to why would they want it from me. It's a lot of that kind of like, and it all comes way back to like when I was a dancer and I had a teacher who was not, it's always back to that, right? So it's like I had a teacher that was just very much like, we don't have to get into it, but it was a tough like experience as a child. And I think it infiltrated my brain for a really long time. And especially because yoga to me is such a natural transition from being a dancer. So it still feels very connected to like 12-year-old Sarah, who's a dancer and was like, you're put in the back and like, you're not that good and that kind of mentality. So I think that's just really stuck is this kind of like, you're not special. You're not like, there's nothing kind of like different about you than anyone else. You're very like middle of the road. And so I think that's where it all kind of comes from for me.
Sure. So
Yeah.
let's answer the question then. Why would
Mhm.
someone want to learn yoga from you?
I feel like, I mean, aside from the personalization and the kind of work that I would do,
I'm gonna
I think,
pause you. I want you to
yeah,
start that answer again and not say I feel like. Why
okay,
would people want to learn from you, be instructed by you? What are the concrete reasons?
yes. I am very approachable in how I teach. I don't believe in this overall kind of yoga aesthetic. I don't think you have to look a certain way to be a certain shape, to be a certain age. I'm very inclusive with how I like to teach, and I like to make people feel safe and comfortable. And I also am very in tune with people's needs. And so I feel like uh, I know I can adjust practices as needed for people. And I care very much for people. And so I want to help. And so it comes from a place of truly wanting to help people connect with themselves and heal. And coming from my own experience of not feeling included and not feeling like I could be a part of something, I'm very passionate about making sure people feel like they're seen and are important.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
I'm hearing is you're the yoga teacher for people who have had traumatic experiences in dance, in theater, in the arts, in some sort of physical realm growing up, right? And like didn't
Mhm.
fit into that box, right? But it's like helping them relearn how to fall in love with their body and how they function. That's why people want to work with you. So I want to point something out here too, is that it's wonderful to clock where something came from of like,
Mhm.
here's why I know it's hard to price my package and sell it because of this specific thing that happened. But then we have to go the next step further, which is, okay, so I'm now going to answer the question, why would people want to work with me? And it's like you're actually pulling your self-worth out of it. You're
Yeah.
actually going into the tactical pieces of like in this 10-week program they are going to get X, Y, and Z. Here's not even like how Sarah like thinks about things and believes about things. It's like, here is how my personality instruction gets them to where they want to go. Like, what are they actually receiving in this package? I'm gonna burst your bubble. This actually has nothing to do with you, right? Like
Yeah.
your self-worth actually doesn't have to be a part of what you provide as a help, as a support, as a program for these people. So
Mhm.
I want you to be able to rattle off a list of all the reasons why someone would be so excited to pay you $1,500 for a 12-week program. Like
Yeah.
list what you just walked through. I want you to write it down. I want you to try and make a list of 75 reasons
Okay.
why someone would want to join your program, why someone would want to work with you.
Okay.
75 reasons. And I want you to say those out loud to yourself every day. I want you to list them off in your brain like it's nothing, right? They
Yeah.
immediately come to your brain.
Yeah, I think I've always been someone who's made things more personal than they need to be. And so that's part of the neutral, the desire to be neutral around money as well, because I make that mean something about me as a person and me and my ability to manage money and be an entrepreneur and do, like I kind of make it all mean something when it doesn't have to mean anything about me.
Right.
Yeah.
And why I'm saying that too, to like separate them right
Mhm.
now, is because you're still processing through, right? That thing that happened to you as a kid, right? So while you're processing it and while you're still working through it, we're just going to separate your ability to make money in your business and help
Yeah.
people from
Yeah.
that, right? That gets to be separate and precious. And
Yeah.
then even if your brain might not believe it yet, here are the reasons why people would want to work with me. And I'm going to remind myself every single day because this has nothing to do with me. And that version of me who was a kid, she's going to yell and scream. But the version of me now knows that these are the reasons why people want to work with me.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
good. So,
absolutely.
so that's your homework, is that
Okay.
belief. What else came up for you when we were talking about the 10-week one-on-one program?
Um, I don't think there's anything aside from just kind of the why do people want this? Why me? That's always been something I've been working with Harry on as well. It's like that kind of like I think having this like actually having to list the reasons because I've been doing a lot of those affirmations with money is like just saying it until the brain believes it kind of thing. And I think I just haven't done it with this in particular.
Sure.
So I think that's the big one for me is just not I like I believe very strongly in the program, but I think there's a disconnect between believing in it and then like being able to speak about it and sell it. It's like that's kind of the hard part.
Definitely. I just pulled up your Instagram real quick because I'm going to give you I have
Mm-hmm.
a little baby audit here.
Go for it.
Here's what I'm not seeing on your Instagram right now. What I'm not seeing is your story at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing you talk about how you used to be a dancer and how like yoga was a natural transition and like how you've healed through yoga emotionally, like tactically as a dancer. Like, not that you have to talk about this specific like situation that you're working through right now, but like, how did you get into yoga? Where's the emotional part of how it's healed you specifically? Like,
Yeah.
seeing healing, like it expands you, that sort of stuff, but like specifically, how did it
Right.
help you? How has it helped your clients, right?
Right.
Or people that you're working with?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm seeing that. I'm also not seeing why a customizable 10-week program is better than doing YouTube videos every week of free
Right.
yoga sessions online.
Right. Okay.
Talk about the customization so much. And I want examples, right? And I know this is like a new program that you're selling, but like in
Mm-hmm.
your group classes, even just the smallest adjustments or personalization that you've given to people in class, how that's like changed their practice or like something you said or a conversation you had or like how you chose the music and how it affects the practice. Like I want to see more about why would they pay $1,500 when they can get free yoga classes online? I want you to ask yourself that question.
Right. Right. Okay. I did have a friend of mine do the program as like kind of a guinea pig and she gave me testimonials. And so I think I've
What
only
did she
posted maybe
say?
one.
Can you tell me
So
what she
she, yeah, so she also said to emphasize the playlists a lot, because I ask people their favorite artists and then I make playlists around them. And she really loved, there was one day, and she wrote a testimonial about this, I have to post it, but she wrote one about how she was having a job interview that morning, and I came into it wanting to do something completely different, and then she told me she was having this job interview, so I like adjusted the program on the spot to kind of be, so she could like, we did a lot of breath work, and we did a lot of like chakra meditation, and we did a lot of like stuff like that to kind of adjust to her day. And so that's definitely something I want to talk more about, is like I can literally come on
Have a
and
good
change it.
interview?
I have it written. It's a written testimonial, but I can get her
No,
to
no,
talk.
I mean her interview that she had that day, did it go well?
Oh, it did. She didn't get the job, but it did
Sure.
go well.
But the interview went well.
Yeah.
Great. So like when you're talking about this program, it's like, here's how a yoga practice helped my client have a kick-ass interview for a new job. Like I want you
Right.
to actually connect the two, because so many people, I want you to think about like, what are they waking up thinking about? They're not thinking,
Yeah.
I want to have a weekly yoga practice. They're thinking, I need to be in better shape. I want to get healthier. I want to be calmer. I want to get this job. I want to have more money. Like, tie the 10-week yoga practice to exactly what they want.
Yeah.
Like, how is this 10-week program going to actually change their entire life?
Right.
And
Okay.
in just 10 weeks of practicing yoga weekly, what can happen for you in your life?
Yeah. Okay.
Play there. And so, with all of this, with everything we've just talked about, the more you live in this part of your brain, the less you're going to live in the fear and the self-worth thoughts and the scarcity. Like you're just actually trying to solve people's problems and help people and support people. You're thinking about like it takes you out of yourself, right? It like
Right.
leaves self-worth as something you can work on in therapy, but it stays out of your business. Now, your self-worth doesn't stay out of your business, right? But like
Right. Right.
instead of trying to like solve the self-worth problem before you're able to sell, or before you're able to like really support these clients, just focus on supporting the clients and let the self-worth stuff be worked on other times.
Yeah. 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 Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
And the other thing I want to say here, to jump back to the credit card debt too, I want you to go Google like credit card debt payoff calculator. And I
Yeah.
want you to calculate, I want you, and this is literally just for your brain. This isn't like helping you with tactical strategy. I want you to type in the balances and the minimums that you're paying every single month. And I want you to calculate for each of the cards how long it will be until they are paid off. And what I'm going to want you to look at is that
Mhm.
every single one of them, even if you're just paying the minimums, will be paid off at some point in time.
Right. Okay.
They literally have an end date. You paying off just the minimums on all of them and not using those cards anymore, you're going to be debt free. Like if you just do that, there's an end date. Your brain might not like the timeline, but there's an end date.
Yeah. And I think there's also something like, I feel like there's a part of me as well that like, even if I get completely debt free, I want to be okay if I build debt again. Like I want that to be okay as well, to kind of be like, because I've done this before. I've had debt, I've paid it off, but I've done it in a different way than I'm doing now. Like I got a full-time job and did the thing and all that. And I don't want to do that again, because I knew that that was out of a place of lack. Like I did it because I was afraid of the debt. And so I'm like I want to be okay with having some debt. I just want it to feel a little bit more manageable.
Yes, and I don't want that to be your thought, because I actually think that thought is coming from you not being able to believe that you could be debt free for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
actually
do. I actually do think, I think that that's, yeah, like not possible. Yeah.
so line in the sand, this is the last debt you'll ever have, right?
Mhm.
Unless you decide to make a very specific personal or business investment, or you decide
Right.
to get a mortgage. Like debt isn't bad, but
Right.
why I'm picking at this thought is because it's not actually coming from a place of neutrality. It's coming from, I don't believe I could actually never have to use debt again if I didn't want to.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm glad you've made that distinction, because that's so true. Yeah.
And then the last thing that I wanted to say, we didn't fully go into this, but the points and the cash back. Uh,
Yeah.
I just want you to know credit card companies do that shit so that people stay in debt, so that people use up their cards. Like, it actually becomes a moot point when you're carrying debt. So
Right.
the organization of your money and putting that wall between you and your debt is so much better for your financial wellness than getting the best cash back.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, that they're just doing that to make you spend more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Whew. All right. Well, this is so helpful. Thank you. I'm going to go write my
Good.
75 reasons right now.
Amazing. I can't wait to hear about them, and I can't wait to see the content that starts coming up from there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Amazing. It was wonderful to chat with you today, Sarah.
Thanks, Brooke. Thanks as always. I appreciate it.
Of course. Have a good week.
All right.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Come join me on Instagram for more on how to build a simple, sexy relationship with your money. My Instagram handle is @NotStarvingArtists. And if you want to dive deeper with me, head to the show notes to learn more about one-on-one coaching. If you love this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend that you want to get rich with.